Hi everyone, in this video I will be showing you how to post and fetch data by using two ways. One is by fetching using the ID and another one is fetching all the data present in the database by using MongoDB, Node.js and Postman. So let's get started. So first thing, let me just go and create a folder over here. So new folder, let me name it as NMP, okay, something Node, Mongo and Postman. So that's it, that's the folder name, and I will just go to Visual Studio Code and just open that folder. So it's file, open folder, C project NMP and select folder. So this is our folder opened over here. So just click it and let's just name main.js. Okay, so this is going to be our only JS file that we are going to use, and now we are good to go. We need to install two packages. Okay, one is Express and another one is Mongoose. Okay, so for that what we need to do is we need to just right click it and just click this open in integrated terminal, so which automatically gives the terminal to this path itself, okay, this folder itself. So as I told you earlier, we need Express and Mongoose, so just do npm I Express space Mongoose, okay, and hit enter. Just wait till it gets downloaded. So once our packages has been installed, we are now good to code. Okay, so let's get started. So first is we need to import Express and Mongoose, just a default code over here. So it's going to be const Express equal to require Express, okay, within double quotes, and next is const app equal to Express. Okay. That's it, we are done with Express. Now we need to include Mongoose, so it's going to be const Mongoose equal to require Mongoose within double quotes, and here we also need to include app dot use express dot json. Okay, as we will be passing JSON data in the form of JSON, we need to include this particular line over here. And next is the important line. We will be making our connection with our MongoDB. Okay, so in the next line it's going to be mongoose dot, so this mongoose corresponds to this variable name. Okay, mongoose dot connect, and here we'll be specifying the URL. Okay, URL are the path in which your database is present. So since we are using local host, okay, local MongoDB, we will be putting MongoDB colon slash slash local host colon, then it's going to be the port number, which is 27017 slash, and here you can specify the database name. So it can be existing database or you can just create your own new database. So I will put my new DB as my database name. Out of this double quotes, just put a comma and a curly bracket. Okay, and here you will be putting use in ascap new uscap URL parser as true. Okay, so in case if you get any warnings, to avoid that you can just put this. And next one is use unified topology, same true for it as well. So it's parser left R, so it's R, and after doing this just come to this curly bracket end and just put a comma over there. Let's just display a message if we are connected and if we aren't connected as well. So let's just catch that error. So error and just an arrow function over here. So if there isn't error, any error, that is the error is null, which means that we have been successfully connected to our database. So in case that we can just console log connected to DB. Okay, this will be the message when we aren't having any error. And let's suppose say that we are having any error, that means the else block will be executed. So let's just copy this and paste it, and let's put error. That's it. So this is the connection over here connecting our database. Smooth this. Okay. So next is let's just start our server. Okay, then we can just do the rest of stuff. Okay, so it's going to be app dot listen. The port, I will keep the port as 3000, and just an arrow function over here, and I will just console log on port 3000. Just save it. Okay, I think we are good to go. Just have a comment over here, db connection. Okay, save it now, and let's just go to the terminal, and it's going to be node your file name.js. My file name is main. We'll just hit enter over here. So now we are getting on port 3000, and we are also getting connected to db, which means that there isn't any error. So our error is null. So this is getting displayed. So that's really well and good. Let's just stop this. Control C, and now let's just create the schema. Okay, schema for our MongoDB database. So I will just type in the entire thing in the same file. Okay, it's just going to be like 20 lines of code. I don't want to have like multiple number of files and like make it really confusing. I will just keep it as simple as possible. So here we're just going to create the schema. Okay, and it's going to be const sch be my schema name. Okay, and I will be having just two values. Okay, let's say I will have a name is going to be of data type string, and I will also have the email. Okay, just as demo purpose, I will just have an email that is also going to be of type string as well. So in case like if you also want an ID going to be of type number, just hit number over here. Okay, so once you have done with our schema, you need to just attach your schema with the mongoose model. So it's going to be const mongoose model, okay, equal to mongoose, that is this variable name over here, this name that you have specified, that's this variable name, mongoose dot, to put model, and here you need to pass the collection name. Collection name is like the table name that you are going to have in your MongoDB database. So collection is nothing but a table. Like in SQL we call it as table, and in MongoDB we call it as connection. So be really careful over there. I will name my table or collection name as new call something, and next you will just put a comma, and here you will pass this schema name. So it's going to be sch over here. So that's it. We are done with our schema, and we are also done with our model over here. So next thing is we need to just create a post request. Okay, code for the post request. So it's going to be, I'll just put post route. You can say it as post route or post route, and here we are not going to use any router. We're just going to make use with the help of app.post itself. So app dot means this app, okay, this name that you have specified over here. So it's going to be app.post. Okay, there are actually many requests: post, delete, get, but here we're just going to like push data or input data. So here we're just going to use post, and here we'll pass the URL. Okay, so it's going to be for me just post. So this will be like local host and colon port number slash post. So that's going to be the entire URL for this, and it's just put a comma outside the double quotes. It's going to be async, and we'll just have a bracket, and inside that we will have the request and response, and just put an arrow function over here inside this. So everything should be like inside this, enclosed within this app.post itself. So after this, what we'll do is we'll just have a console. Okay, console.log, and we'll just pass the message inside post function. Okay, just as a notification whether this particular app.post is getting called or not. So just to verify that. And next thing what we'll do is we'll just have a variable, okay, data. So this const data is used to extract the data that we are passing to this URL. Okay, so we are going to post data, so we need to have some input. So that input we are going to feed it with the help of Postman. Okay, so with this help of this URL, we will be entering this localhost / post URL over here, and we will also enter this key value pair. So this is where we are going to get the input. So our input will be sent to this like URL, and the data that is posted over here will be collected in this variable data. Okay, so how we are going to do that is we are just going to have a new, and we are going to use this mon model. Okay, this thing that's just a model, mongoose model. And what we will do is open circular bracket and a curly bracket over here, and it's going to be name dot, so name corresponds to this variable name over here. Okay, so it's going to be name req dot body dot name. Okay, so req refers to this one. Okay, we just highlight this, okay, and just put a comma, and it's going to be email req dot body dot email. Okay, email corresponds to this thing, another variable. Okay, and next thing we also have id, so it's going to be id. Just copy paste this stuff over here, copy and paste it, just have it as an id. Okay, all this data will come from this Postman. We will be just pushing all this data from here and we'll get to this URL, and from by using this method we will just segregate and store it as name, email and id. So this things request.body corresponds to JSON body that we are sending it from our Postman. So once all these values are getting stored in our data, we need to just store this data in our MongoDB collection. So for that, what we will do is just come over here, const val. Okay, this is something, a shortcut for value, equal to await data. Data corresponds to this data. Okay, it consists of our name, email and id. Data dot save. So this line of code basically saves the data, that is our name, email and id, that is passed from our Postman, and it just saves it in our collection. Okay, and next thing is response. We will just send this data. Okay, response dot json, you will just send val. So val will also contain the same data that is present in our data variable, and response data means this will send back to our Postman. It's just considered as a message. Okay, we are sending data from our Postman to this URL and just getting stored in our MongoDB database. After all it's done, the same data will be sent back to our Postman again as a response. So that's what this response.json value means. Okay, over here I think we are good to go. Okay, so this is post, we have done with our data, everything. We have done our schema model. So let me just now save it and we just run it again. Okay, node, and I hope it works. So we are on port 3000 and we are also connected to database, and I will just now go to database and check whether we are having a database named it's my new DB. Okay, so if I just go to over here and if I just refresh it, so as you can see here we are getting a my new DB over here, and just click here, I am having a collection. So this is the collection name that I told you earlier, that's similar to a table in MongoDB. So it's named as new calls, and how we are getting the name is that it's from here, new call. I specified it as new call. It will automatically add a yes to it at the end. Okay, so that's by default. So now our database and our collection has been like created over here. So next, the final thing, we need to post data. Okay, so we will be using Postman. Okay, like I guess you know this tool. So what you do is you just close it. Okay, just go to this plus icon over here, open it, and here you need to enter the URL. So it's going to be http colon, I am already having like auto complete over here. So this is like the URL that we are having over here. So it's http. Okay, if you do http, yes, I think you will be getting an error. Do http colon, you'll be really careful over here, and this 3000 is corresponding to this 3000. Okay, if you have given some other value here, make sure that you change over here as well. So it's going to be /post, and this /post is this URL. Okay, so corresponding, you'll make use of this post function. Okay, so here we need to pass 3 values. Okay, so it's going to be a post request. So we'll just go here and put post and just go to body. We'll be not having any space to input, so you need to go to raw, and instead of text you need to change it as JSON, because we are going to input in the form of JSON. Okay, so I know you know the JSON structure. It's going to be like a key value pairs. So I think our first name is name, email and ID. So it's going to be name colon and ABC. I will just have the name as ABC. And another important thing is that your name, email, like the key should also be within double quotes. Okay, name, email. I will just put abc at abc.com, comma, and our ID colon, let's say 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, since our ID is of number type, there isn't any requirement of double quotes, but ABC, these are of type string, cause we have specified over it as string over here. So that's good, I guess. So let me just now send. Okay, so we are having 3 values. So if we just put send, so we are getting this back. Okay, so that's the thing I told you earlier. We are sending it and we are getting this as a response back. So the reason why we are getting the same value, but we are also having an ID as well as a version. This is called as version, I guess, as 0 because of this single line. Okay, yeah, I will explain to you later. Okay, first let's check whether we have got our value. Okay, So now I will just go to our MongoDB, and this is our collection new calls. If I just now hit refresh, I'll be getting these values ABC, ABC at abc.com and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's absolutely fine. We have just posted data in our MongoDB, and coming back to the response, okay, and we will be having like two additional, what to say, additional key. Okay, we are having ID and we just passed these three over here. This ID is like a primary key. What do you call in SQL? It's called a primary key, which is like uniquely used to identify a particular row. Okay, so this ID is automatically generated by MongoDB, and this version v is like obviously also auto generated. You can also like have some code to avoid this as well. You can try that as well, and we are getting this as a response back to our Postman. Okay, and that is because of this line. Okay, this, as I told you, response.json dot val is because we are, this val will contain all these entire thing. Okay, and let's suppose say that we don't want to send that JSON, we can send something as well, like response.send, and just put posted. Okay, save it, and you can also see that inside post function, that's because this function has been like called by this Postman. We are just calling, it's like function call itself, we are just making use of this function. So that's why I'm getting this inside post function. Okay, so let me just now stop it, control C, okay, to stop, and I'll just run it again. So this time I will just post some other data. I will put only AB over here, and one, just send it. So this time I'm already posted. Okay, and the reason is obviously I think you know, because I'm just change this like from rest.json to I'm sending it now rest.send posted. And if I just now go to my MongoDB, and if I just refresh it, I will be getting the new value over here. So now let's go and do the get or fetch method. Okay, so let me just come down over here. I will just put a command as fetch or get, something like that. The next line, it's going to be app.get, and inside the bracket we need to specify the path. Okay, so it's going to be slash fetch, and we are going to fetch with the help of a ID. Okay, so it's going to be colon ID. So this ID basically corresponds to the this ID. Okay, not the default ID of Mongoose, but our own specified ID over here. So that's going to be the ID. That ID we are going to pass through the parameter, and just come out of this path, comma, function. So it's going to be request and response over here. Just open curly bracket, and first thing we need to get this ID. Okay, so for that I'll just put fetch ID equal to request dot params dot ID. Okay, that's it. So if you are getting some data from through request body, we will put request.body, and if you are getting that ID from a parameter, we will put request.params.id. And next thing is to fetch a data from the Mongoose database, we will be using the find function. Okay, so in the next line you need to specify your Mongoose model name. So in my case the Mongoose model name is mon model. Okay, so just come down over here and put mon model dot find. Okay, and just open circular bracket, and inside this you need to pass like two parameters. Okay, first one is the ID through which you want to find in your database. So just open another circular bracket, just pass ID over here. So this ID, as I told you earlier, corresponds to this ID. Okay, if you want to find with the help of name, you can give name there, email there. Okay, I am finding with the through ID itself. Okay, so I am putting ID over here and ID, and we need to pass the value that we are passing through our parameter. So it's going to be fetch ID over here, and this needs to be enclosed within curly bracket as well. Okay, just put a curly bracket over here and come out of this stuff. Okay, come out of all of this. Okay, this is going to be a second argument, comma, function, open circular bracket again, and error, comma, value. Okay, and open curly bracket again. So in case of any error, this catches it, and the value, this value corresponds to the values that are present in the database for this corresponding ID that we are passing over here. So what we are going to do with this data is, let's just send it. Okay, let's just do response dot send val. That's it. Okay, this response or send val means that this value, okay, the values present in the database will be getting displayed in our console of our Postman. Basically it will be appearing here. So now let's just run and test it out. Okay, save it and just run it now. So it's on port 3000. I will go to Postman. So it's slash fetch slash, and what are the IDs we are having? I'm having 3. Okay, I will put ID 3. Okay, it's going to be slash 3. So this is what that path means. Slash fetch slash 3 means that slash fetch slash 3. So this 3 will be getting passed as fetch ID over here. And another important thing is that you need to change this to get. Okay, it won't work if you keep as post or some other thing. So we don't need any data to be passed. Okay, none. That's perfect, I guess. And if I just now send this, I'll be getting all these values. So as you can see, I'm getting name as D, email d@d.com something, and the same data is also present in the database. Okay, and just have a look at it. And let's suppose say that if you pass something, okay, some other ID that isn't present in our database. So let's say I will put some 1000. 1000 is not present in my database itself. So if I just now send it, I'll be getting an empty array. Okay, I'll be getting an empty array. So in order to make our code more understandable and generic, we will have some conditions, okay, to check these as well, to check whether our particular ID is present in our database or not. So for that, it's really simple. So first thing, let me just remove this. If val dot length, okay, equal to 0, okay, which means that our val is this empty array. Okay, we will be getting this empty array when we pass a ID which it is in present in our database. As in case we pass 1000, right, we are getting an empty array. So we are checking that, and if this val dot length is equal to 0, what we will do is we will put response dot send, okay, data does not exist, okay, or you can do wrong ID, something like that. Else means our data is present. Okay, you will just put a else response dot send val, the value. Okay, and we are also having this error. Okay, this error is unused. Really important to use this as well. So for that, just come top of this if error. If there is any error, that becomes, this if condition becomes true and this get executed. So just come over here. You can just have a response dot send and just pass something error, something like that, random thing, or you can just pass that error over here as well. That's your choice. And after having this error, you need to put a else condition. Okay, else condition, and you need to enclose all these previously written code within this. Okay, just okay, like this. So this ending curly bracket will be corresponding to this else block. Okay, so it's pretty obvious. If you have any error, means this code isn't going to work. So we need to just have it in else part. Okay, and I think this makes sense to you. So let me just now save it and stop the existing one and rerun it again. So it's working well. So now if I just try the same thing, 1000, it isn't present in my MongoDB database. If I just send it now, I'll be getting data does not exist, and I will go over here. 11 is present in my database, so I will just put over here 11 and send it. I'll be getting the value. Okay, and in case of error, okay, for error, I think if we will get error if we pass some alphabet or value. So I will put AA, something like that, and if I send it, I'll be getting error over here as well. So this is working perfectly. So for this, I will just come over here. I will put a comment as fetch all. So for this, let's have a app dot get. Okay, because we are going to fetch the data. So for that, we'll be using the get function and open circular bracket, and we need to specify the path over here. So it is slash, I will name it as fetch all, comma, this is the callback function. So it's going to be request and response arrow function over here, and here we need to use our model name. So in my case, my model name is mon model, and this is my schema. So you need to use this model name. So I will come here. It's going to be mon model dot, and we will be using the find function over here. So it's find, and inside that another callback function. So this will have a error and the values that we are fetching from our database. So any error will be caught by this ERR, and our value, that is these values in our collection or our table, will be fetched by this value. So another arrow function over here as well. Just open curly bracket, and if any error, we can just basically console that error. Okay, so I'll just console.log error, and in case if you don't have any error, we can just put a else block and send the data as a response. Okay, so it's going to be response dot, and we can send that data in a JSON format, JSON val. So all this data fetched from our MongoDB compass will be appearing over here in this response in Postman. Okay, so that's the code, basically hardly like 7 lines of code. That's it. Using this we can fetch the data, and I guess you are familiar with this post operation as well. If you want, you can just pause the video and type it out. So I'm saving it now. So let me start my node server. So it's node main.js. I'm hitting enter. Yeah, it's now on port 3000. So now we need to go to the Postman. Okay, so first let's check whether it is posting data properly. So I will just send some data, random data. I will go with all values as B and B over here as well, and we just send it. Yeah, I'm getting posted. So if I now go to my compass and refresh it, yeah, I'm having this data over here. So now let's try with the fetching all the data. Okay, so for this we need this particular path. Okay, so just copy this path and go to Postman again. So two important things: you need to send no data. Okay, no data over here, and you need to change this post to get. Really important thing. If you don't change it, you won't be even getting the output, and you can't even find what error you may have made. So really important thing over here. And instead of this slash post path, we'll be changing it to slash fetch all. This can be given anything, but this text over here should be given over there as well. So if I just now send it, so here you can see I'm getting some documents or some data over here. So it's form of a JSON. So 4 documents are present over here. So this directly corresponds to the data present inside my MongoDB compass. Here you can see that last data we have added is over here. So this is how you fetch all the data from your MongoDB database by using Node.js. So that's it, I guess. If you want, you can watch this entire tutorial that I've done on port, post, fetch, delete operation by using the same Node.js and MongoDB. And I also done many other programming videos in C, C++, Java, Python, Blender, Node.js, React.js, 3D animation. So do check other videos of my channel. Subscribe me. Thanks for watching.